Hey, Gotham Geekgirl here, and it's time for another review. We're going to talk Silent Night from legendary director John Woo and the producers of John Wick. Come Silent Night, the gritty revenge tale of a tormented father who witnesses his young son die when caught in a gang's crossfire on Christmas Eve. The thrilling action-packed film stars Joel Kinnaman, who I already love from Altered Carbon. He plays a relentless silent killer in John Woo's first American film in 2 decades. The film is directed by John Woo and written by Robert Archer Lynn. It stars Joel Kinnaman, Kid Cudi, Scott Mescudi, Torres, and Catalina Sandino Moreno. It features almost no dialogue, and it's Woo's first American feature film since 2003 with Paycheck. Silent Night, it's the ultimate revenge story. It's full of epically volatile fight sequences, savage gunplay, and gloriously coordinated combat tactics. Joel Kinnaman offers up an explosive performance as a grieving father who will stop at nothing to avenge his son. There's almost no dialogue, who stuns audiences with his brilliant visuals and the movie's use of sight, sound, to capture emotion. So Joel Kinnaman leads as Brian Godluck. He's a family man, and his life is completely shattered when a shooting takes his voice and his son's life. So he goes into the deep underworld to avenge his young son's death. He's enraged. He's full of vengeance, and he's ready to kill them all on Christmas Eve. So the film is almost dialogue free due to the father's injury, hence the title. And it's going to be released in theaters December 1st. So Catalina Sandino Moreno, she plays as his wife, Saya Goodluck. Scott Mescudi plays a detective, Dennis Vessel, and Harold Torres plays the drug kingpin Playa. So first, the trailer is going to open up with the famed Christmas song "Carol of the Bells." Brian's going to be running after the thugs, and the film immediately jumps right into the action. Marco Beltrami composed the film score, and the film features like fantastic fight choreography with little sprinkles of Christmas, like such as the trailer, which uses a mix of Carol of the Bells and Ode to Joy with lots of orchestral bombing, synchronized to gunshots and explosions. I really love the film's use of music. And it also relies heavily on visuals to tell the story and express how the characters feel. The filmmakers use music instead of language, and the movie's really all about sound and sight. And it features fantastic imagery and visuals to really tell the story and provoke these feelings. So Brian Godluck, Kinnaman survives, but he loses the ability to speak, along with his will to live. And this burdens his wife, Saya, who struggles to tend to her husband's despair, while she's also grieving and trying to come to her own terms, losing her son. And she gives up and leaves, and now Brian is really like full on for vengeance. And Joel Kinnaman spearheads the story as Brian Godluck, and the film's really about grief and using revenge, and kind of like removes you from your humanity. Catalina adds that Silent Night is like a story about survival, and when your whole world like collapses around you, then you kind of have to find those moments where people they're gonna, try to help keep you alive. And there's really like I said, no dialogue in the movie. The only dialogue really comes from like the thugs and the cops, like while they're actually in a moment of action. Joel does an excellent job portraying the father who's in agonizing pain and essentially voiceless. He's completely shuts down. He turns to alcohol. He doesn't interact with anyone. He never leaves his house. He doesn't even look at his wife. Most of the conversation is actually presented through text message with his wife, Catalina Sandino Moreno, and she's great. The movie's antagonist is the villainous Playa, and he's a gang leader. He's involved in like drug and smugglings and other like illegal ventures. And the authorities are aware of him, but they haven't really done anything. And he does a great job bringing this character to life, and he kind of brings like an artsy vibe to him. And it's a little deeper than the drug lord, but essentially he's just super dangerous. He doesn't really care about anyone. And he has a relationship with Venus, and she's very important to him, and she kind of plays an integral role later in the movie. And their relationship is really important, and their whole gang situation kind of shows like the flawed policing system, and that's a significant factor in spurring Brian's mission of vengeance, because it's evident that their family's never going to receive justice for the death of his son. And essentially, this is why he decides to take matters into his own hands. Scott Mescudi portrays the empathetic detective Dennis Vessel, and I feel like Kid Cudi kind of was pointless in this movie, to be honest. The cops didn't really do anything, and I don't really think, especially without the dialogue, that Kid Cudi really got to show much acting chops. I don't think he really did a great job, to be honest. Essentially, it's not only his fault. Like the movie, like I said, the cops really didn't do anything. But what the film does get right is it's like epically violent, like gritty and like glorious violence, like choreography. The gunplay is fantastic. So if you're fans of John Wick, you're absolutely gonna love that. The movie features a lot of symbolism. Like you're going to see the balloon from his child he chases and follows to the shooters. The wife really feels like useless and powerless, and you kind of see like drugs everywhere. Like now it's worse. There's more graffiti. That there's kids with drugs, and Joel gives an excellent performance. And when he comes back from the hospital, we see like a flashback of him like dealing with this tragedy and how he was such a different person before, like such a loving father in the flashbacks and moments with his son. But now he's traumatized. He becomes an alcoholic. And we also see imagery like newspaper clippings and the use of sound and imagery throughout the movie. Like I mentioned, most conversation is through text. The Christmas music also played an integral part in the movie. It was never joyful. It was always really dark and brought a lot of moments. I do like that the movie didn't show him, you know, progress overnight. Like they showed like a year of him training and getting fit and working out and learning how to use knives. There were a few minor things that didn't work for me. Overall, the film felt a little too 90s. Didn't really feel modern. The cops were completely useless. Kid Cudi, I'm sorry, anyone could have played that role. I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but Kid Cudi really served no purpose except to highlight Brian. Also, where did Brian get all this money from? He wasn't working. And they never really explained how he got all this money to get all these guns. Overall, they never really showed where he got all this money from. Like I said, I do like that he didn't get this overnight. Like they showed him knife training. They showed him, even getting his ass whooped a few times. So I definitely like that aspect. That was done pretty well. But it doesn't bring anything new to the whole vengeance tale. But I do think that it being dialogue free was powerful and made the movie stand out. Although, like I said, the premise is very been there, done that. We've seen this 1,000 times over, like The Punisher, the father coming back in vengeance for his family. But the dialogue free definitely was powerful, and you really saw that in Joel Kinnaman's performance, and you also saw it with Catalina as well. As the dynamic between them completely shifted. Like I said, most of that conversation was through text message, so they never really processed together. There's a couple moments where you do see them kind of grieve a little bit, but it was mostly always him turning to the bottle, her just working and trying to survive and keep her and him afloat, because essentially he has completely lost his mind and he just has so much built up anger and hate. He just stays in his basement all day. And then also like the Christmas elements, like I mentioned, like a little bit of Christmas elements sprinkled on top. Like the music was really powerful. It's definitely ass-kicking Christmas movie. In the trailer, he makes it a point to note on his calendar, December 24th, time to kill them all. And you see with Chaos of the Bells, the trailer uses a mix of carols of the bells and Ode to Joy with lots of orchestral bombing, synchronized gunshots and explosions. There's a lot of gunshots and explosions throughout the movie. There's also the O and the Lionsgate logo at the start of the trailer. It's a Christmas wreath. So it's cute little Easter eggs for Christmas in there. I highly recommend to see this in theaters. Definitely highly action-packed, a lot of ass-kicking. Fans of John Wick, Violent Night, and The Punisher will absolutely love this movie. It's rated R. There's a lot of bloody violence. It's a fun holiday mystery thriller for, action fans. John Woo's back, and definitely check it out in theaters December 1st.